What's up, bankers?
Hello then, guys.
How is everybody doing?
How are you doing? Are you enjoying your off week? That's what weeks are when you don't have a Formula One race. They're off weeks, and you know what? It's a much needed rest. It's a much needed rest because Vegas is coming up, baby. And I don't know if you've heard, but it's not going to be good. It's going to be the dumbest thing that's ever happened. I don't know if you've heard that.
Yeah. It hasn't been an off week for us. We've been prepping for this thing. For this shit show.
We're going to Vegas.
Yes.
We're going to Vegas, and guess what? We were going to Vegas when it wasn't cheap, okay? We were going to Vegas all along, dude.
But guess what? We don't have tickets. We're just going. We're just kind of hanging out.
We're just showing up. We're just showing up. We're like a couple of like kids in the 70s trying to like get in with Andy Warhol. You know what I mean? We're just coming to the club, hoping that Andy sees us in our tight little asses and hoping that we can like hang out with him and Basquiat and just be part of the crew. That's what we're doing. That's how we're going.
We're in the factory looking tight, looking right. And that's what it is. And for all those you think we made it, we haven't made it. We're literally just going to do man on this.
Go to the Patreon. We still need you on the Patreon. I broke the shit out of my foot. I'm going to be there on goddamn crutches and a scooter in Vegas. That's what's happening. And now listen, Matt has something he needs to get into before we get into Matt's rant because he's prepped me. He's like, listen, Brian, you might as well just put the microphone away for 30 minutes because I got to fucking cook on something. But before we get to that, we got to shout out our daddies of the pod. We got to thank Kayla, Robin, Jordan Texera, Jay Lingle, Spencer Grieve, Javier Mera, Sheila Valeri, Chandler, Luana Galbano, Ali Santana, Carla Warlow, Kimberly Whalen, Alonso from My Face 69, Donya Zanad, Jimmy, Mohammed Patel, Kimmy, sponsored by Mommy of the Pod, Hollister 584, Liv Lot, Kat, Future Doctor Dion, Steph Grossi, JB Fresh, Laura, Emily Gillenwater, Cody Hull is my F1 daddy, Branch W. This is someone's daddy name. Keep up the science hate, go off. And our other newest daddy, Hunter Scruggs.
It feels so nice to be seen for your work.
All right, Daddy. And Daddy Matt, what do you got to share with us today?
You know, sometimes I feel like, Brian, I need you here. I need you, buddy, to...
Yes.
I'm going to get on the couch and scream, and you're going to tell me whether I need to be committed or I'm actually a genius, and everybody else around me is taking crazy pills. And I am actually the only person who sees the Matrix. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay?
Let's
I'm really upset.
Okay.
I'm really fucking upset, about this whole Vegas thing. Okay? Yeah. I'm really angry.
Yeah,
Let me start by saying that nobody wants this thing to fail more than I do, and nobody's more rock hard for the ticket sales plummeting and for it to be too cold and for the having to maybe weave on the straight and for this whole thing to be a disaster class. Okay, let me start by saying that the Schadenfreude that I am getting from this, and I'm going to be there freezing my tits off. Let me just say that I am fully erect and wet for that. Yeah. Okay, I am not rooting for this thing to succeed. Let me start by saying that. Okay,
right.
But I am so outraged by all the outrage about this.
Yeah.
For all these European F1 content creators being faux outraged about Vegas.
Yeah.
Americans are doing it too, but this is specifically for the European English people on TikTok, people on YouTube, people on podcasts who know nothing about Las Vegas. Now it's my turn to say, shut the fuck up and stick to Formula One, stick to your shitty English food, stick to your National Health Service that is underfunded, and shut the fuck up. Okay? You don't know shit about Las Vegas. Let me caveat. I sympathize for the people that live in Las Vegas. I live in a big city.
Yeah.
I lived in New York. I know what
Yes.
it's like to have your life upended
Right.
by shitty
Yes.
events.
Right.
It's like all these fucks have to run a marathon, and now my whole day is fucked up because these
Yeah.
people have a fucking bucket list that they got to check off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now the whole day's fucked because these fucking assholes are walking it?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
With the whole day being fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let the people who are good. But anyway, I digress with that. But the point is with the parades, I understand their side of it. But okay, let's go point by point. First, they're outraged about the trees being torn up. Look at the trees being torn up. You mean the trees that they planted there that are not indigenous? They're in the desert. They're not racing through the fucking redwoods, Brian. This is not the Redwood GP. We're not tearing up 1,000-year-old redwoods. What are we fucking talking about? These are trees that have been planted in Vegas to shield people from their hangovers. Yes. Okay? These are not indigenous trees. Who gives a shit? They're actually, and then they have the audacity, Brian. They have the audacity to complain. They're like, they had to drain the canals in the Venetian?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to give a fuck that they drained the fake canal that's this tacky bullshit thing who your Italian friend, when he saw the fake canal in the Venetian, almost threw up?
Yeah.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to feel bad that they drained the fake canal? And then my final thing.
Yes.
The outrage over blocking the views.
Yeah.
They're blocking the views. They're blacking out the windows. They're doing that. Where do you think they learned it? Las fucking Vegas. You can't see shit in a casino. They fucking block out the windows. You're not allowed to see the sun in Vegas because they want you gambling away your second fucking mortgage. Yeah. What are we talking about here? Suddenly we're scandalized about some windows being blacked out. F1 learned it from Vegas. Yeah. What are we talking about? This is crazy. It's insane.
Yeah.
You know what it is? And you don't know, guys, the Vegas it's a transient place. Okay, the history of Vegas. The history of Vegas. There were people living in there. They were called the Paiute Indians, okay?
Yes.
The Paiute Indians were living there, but we're talking about like in terms of the colonial people.
Yeah.
The Spanish in the 1700s, it started as a way station because there was water there. It was actually green. It was called Las Vegas, which means the meadows in Spanish. So there was water underneath. And it became a way station for people it became a place for people to stop on their way to Los Angeles.
Right.
So they just stopped there. It was a place where people just stopped and just chilled for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what happened is it was like, how do we get people like to have more fun while they're chilling here? To spend money while they're stopping here. So in the 1800s, they started building bars, gambling, prostitution. They were like, how do we appeal to people while they're just stopping here? And it has evolved since then, you know, from drinking to gambling to prostitution. And now it's sort of morphing into entertainment, like more of an entertainment. And that entertainment has morphed. It was Rat Pack. You know, they used to, and if you think F1 is tacky, people used to pay to watch nuclear tests. Okay.
Yeah.
People used to get radiation poisoning to watch nuclear bombs go off there. Okay. All sorts of weird shit. And you know what else they used to pay to watch? People used to come to watch. They used to pay to watch their own casinos be demolished. Nothing is sacred there. These casinos that are here now, they're going to all be fucking dust in 20 years because the city keeps changing. It keeps changing. It keeps adapting to get people to keep coming there because it is a transient way station where people come and they go. There are people that live there, sure, and I sympathize with them, but Vegas as a place is constantly changing. It's not fucking Paris. People are treating it like it's this cultural fucking Hellespont that it's the Library of Alexandria that's burning down here. It's not. It's a place that they're blowing. Go to YouTube. Watch all the times that they blow this shit up and they start over. Okay? It is not a place that has any meaningful cultural value in terms of the institutions that are built there. It is constantly being changed and blown up and reinvented and reimagined. and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
You know the strip, the strip as you know it, the strip with the Eiffel, the fake Eiffel Tower, the fake Eiffel Tower, right? And all that shit. That's not even what the strip used to be. When Sinatra was in his day in the 50s and in the fucking 40s, there's a whole other thing, the downtown Las Vegas. My dad was like, I was with my parents. My dad was like, "Oh, you know, like where the strip is, that's like not what the strip like used to be. There's this whole other area that's like in shitty relic Las Vegas that they're like, we don't give a fuck about all these other classic hotels. We just built new, so the strip isn't even that fucking old. This strip that's being compromised by this shit. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there fucking with you. And the thing that's craziest is these Europeans like bemoaning the living experience of the Las Vegas residents. As if you don't give a fuck about the residents of Las Vegas. You hate Las Vegas as a concept. Las Vegas represents everything that you hate. So why the fuck are you now pretending to care about the people who reside in the place that you hate more than anything else in the world? Like it's bullshit.
It's cynical. It's virtue signal bullshit.
Yes.
It's like there's no nuance to any of it. It's like you could also sympathize with the people of Las Vegas and understand that Vegas is a garbage place. And it is renovated all the time and has no intrinsic value it exists to be transformed. It needs to change because it exists as a place to attract people. So it is a fad. It is always it's like a new fad all the time. Now it's the Sphere, right? It's just constantly reinventing itself. And for the people who actually believe that Vegas is being desecrated, it's like you're watching a porn.
Yeah.
And you're watching the step parent come in and the stepson or daughter is like, I'm naked. Don't come in. I'm naked. And you actually believe that pornographic actor is actually shy about being caught naked. You're like, you're actually buying that act.
Right.
When anybody watching knows this is a porn, they're not actually shy. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's bad acting.
They're not actually stuck in the washing machine. You know, they're not actually stuck there, okay?
Yeah. Yes, it makes me so angry. And it's either you're either stupid or you're disingenuous. You know what I mean? It's you're stupid or you're disingenuous. Yeah. Like, just be honest. You want this F1 thing to fail because you don't like this expansion in America. Just be honest. Right. I hate all these races in America, so I want it to fail. Don't use Vegas as this hallowed ground.
Right.
As a false flag sort of straw man argument.
Yeah.
It makes me so angry.
Yeah, just be upfront and say that you want it to fail and you're happy that it's failing in this way. Because guess what? Like, there's a part of us that's our glee at this thing is like, that. There's a glee.
It's a heat check. It's a big heat check.
And that's really what it is. But we're not going to sit here and be like, and mourn the trees in front of the Bellagio. That guess what? That could be replanted in 2 fucking seconds. Like, let's be honest. This whole place is fake. The whole place is a facade. The whole place is drywall. That's what it is.
Yeah. And it's constantly evolving to try to get people to come there.
Yeah.
And if the F1 thing doesn't work out, they'll think of something else.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift will get a residency there. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they'll build it. Taylor Swift, it'll become Swiftus. You know what I mean? They'll figure something out. You know what I mean?
The Era's residency.
Exactly. That'll be their next attempt to get people to spend money there.
Yeah, Travis
So
Kelce will insist on a trade to the Las Vegas Raiders, and they will live there, and they'll live happily ever after because the guy on the Chiefs coming straight home to me. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. That's for the fucking Swifties soon. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Yeah, no, you were like, that's what I thought you were gonna rant about, and I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you. And
why are we
and
the only people saying this?
Because we go against
We're
the
the-
grain, babe.
But like, it's the obvious truth. It's fuck Las Vegas.
Right.
Tear it up. You do it. You do it every 20 years. Why not now?
Yeah. I was there recently, and I was like, this is a hellscape.
Every restaurant is like a fatty. It's like, oh, this is Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. This is so and so. So it's like not like there's nothing there everything there is like a trend.
Right.
You know, there's no like, oh, this is like an institution.
Right.
There's no institutions. The institutions there are like not going to be there in 20 years.
Right. Yeah, it's the sign. It's the sign.
Yeah, it's the sign. It's the sign. But like the Wynn, the Bellagio, the whatever, the Tropicana, all those hotels, those weren't there 40, 50 years ago. None of them were.
It was built in 1998, the Bellagio. It's younger than us. The Bellagio is 28 years old. And they're like, the trees. Oh, the trees in front of the Bellagio.
Wait, how old's the Bellagio?
28 years old, but built in 1998. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's
the
like
Venetian.
An institution.
The Venetian is was built 24 years ago. The Aria Resort and Casino built 14 years ago. I mean, there you go. This is what this place is.
Yep.
So just can we stop with the trees? Can we stop with the trees in the desert? Can we stop with the trees that don't belong in the desert that were planted in the desert in front of the Bellagio, with the fountain in the desert that doesn't belong in the fucking desert? Can we stop with all of that?
Yes.
That's the whole place is fake.
Yes.
And now there's going to be something real happening on it, which is Charles Leclerc probably, his engine not working and him getting out of the race and crying real tears. That's what's going to happen.
He's going to be able to fill the Venetian
come Saturday night. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, I feel like we should talk about some of these things that have been going wrong, because there is, and to be clear, as we talk about these things, we talk about them because we're laughing at the organization. This is a big LOL towards F1 itself, which is what everyone's actually thinking. Is that it's just LOL, you're dumb, F1. F1 big geniuses.
Big
you're actually pretty dumb. So let's go through it.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like the biggest miscalculation that they've made was thinking that people have like more money than they do. Because it was the prices around this whole thing that were so astronomical and so insane that has caused this huge ticket drop. Like tickets that were going for like thousands of dollars are now like $1,000. Like tickets that were $5,000 are now like $2,000. Now listen, they're still expensive, but I just think they were just assuming this was a miscalculation that I think F1 made, that Vegas was just like filled with rich people, which it's not.
No, the rich people were just going to. Well, Vegas is.
The rich people were going to come in.
Yeah.
So think about this.
There's nobody lives in Vegas. It's 750,000 people live in Vegas. It's not a huge city.
Yeah. So it's like people were going to come, but then if you think about like what the prices of this were going to be, it was like going to be, if you wanted good tickets, it was going to be like $5,000 to $15,000 for good tickets. So if you're going with like your family, a family of 4, like $15,000 times 4, $60,000 for your family to go to the race, plus accommodations, which at the time were insane, as that's 2 hotel rooms for the weekend. It's like people were like, I'm going to spend $100,000 going to this fucking event. That was the biggest miscalculation on their part, I think.
Well, here's the thing, and we know this well on a smaller scale. I don't know how much of it was let me give them the benefit of the doubt for a second, which no one is doing here.
Yeah.
And, it's not like they're whatever. It doesn't matter. But we do this all the time where it's like where we plan a show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say we have to pay the venue X. And it's like, okay, there's this many seats.
Right.
If we
right.
hope to make any money, we have to sell this many tickets at this price.
Right.
I'm seeing here, Brian, that they spent like $400 million to make this happen.
F1 did.
So there's just like F1 did to make this happen. So it's just like, okay, we spent $400 million.
Yeah.
If we are hoping to recoup our investment, we have to sell this many tickets at this price point.
Right.
And if we sell them for less than that price point, we're just going to lose money. So they're like, we spent X, we have to sell tickets at Y, and we're going to try to market it as this marquee high class event. The other problem is it's the last American race on the calendar. So if you're an American and you want to see an F1 race, you can get your nut at Miami or Austin.
Yeah.
So if you're rich and you're an F1 fan, you can go to Miami. You've already been to Miami. So they might have been better served doing it earlier in the calendar, trying to get ahead of Miami. I think, and now that and the season's basically over. It is over.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's Verstappen having won, weeks ago. People are like, I don't want to go see a race that's of a thing that's already won. Like it's, if there was a title battle, this wouldn't be an issue.
No, Vegas conned F1. It seems they took all this money.
Right.
And
so is Vegas not paying at all for this 10-year? Because isn't it supposed to be 10 years that they're supposed to do this year?
F1 is promoting this.
So F1 is paying. F1 is paying for all of it.
Yes, F1 is promoting this race.
Interesting.
And they built like a building.
Right.
They are like we out here.
Yeah.
This was a huge bet.
Yes.
They bet big on Vegas.
Yeah.
And it's looking like they bet on this horse that is now like fallen on its face in the opening.
Yeah.
It on the gate, opening gate.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It tore its Achilles in the first 5 minutes of the game. A la
It's
Aaron Rodgers this year.
vibe.
Yeah. It's Charles Leclerc. It's Charles Leclerc in Brazil.
Because for Coda, for example, Coda is paying for that.
Right.
Coda pays F1 X number of dollars and then keeps the difference.
Right.
There's no. Now, what's interesting is it doesn't help F1 that the hotels are charging a crazy amount. I don't think F1 can control that, right?
Right.
It's like, oh shit, we're charging all this money for tickets, and then now the Bellagio is charging so much money.
Right, the surrounding hotels, yeah.
So that's pricing people out even more.
Right.
I would be
now those have fallen. Those have fallen too. There's a shit ton of room. I looked on Priceline today, and it was $230 for a room at the MGM. It's cheap now.
Really?
Because there's just a night, $200, $250 to $300 a night for to stay at the nice hotels on the Strip.
Wow.
Yeah, Jenny's saying for context, it's 1/6 what they made in the fiscal year in 2022. So 2022 they made $2.573 billion. F1 did. And the cost of this is north of $500 million. So a little over $500 million for them to put this race on. The racing giant asked commissioners to provide $40 million of the $80 million project in early June after construction was already underway. The Las Vegas commissioners. So Vegas paid a little bit. Vegas paid $80 million of it.
Okay, I stand
Of the
corrected. I don't wanna
500
know.
million, they
Of
paid
the 500 million. Yeah.
they
Okay.
paid a little less than a fifth.
Okay. So they pumped a bunch of money into Vegas.
Yeah.
So I think Vegas came out ahead. The house won on this one. I forgot what podcast. It's not my original thought, but I think that F1, the people who own F1 now are trying to get as much cash out of this as possible.
Yes.
And then they're planning on selling it.
Yeah.
And once this thing stops growing, the sooner this thing stops growing, the sooner that they can, the sooner that, like, when this golden goose stops shitting lots and lots of golden eggs, they're going to sell this thing to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
So everyone's like, haha, lol. It's going to be haha. You won't be lolling when they sell this thing to the fucking Saudis.
Right.
So I think that this is actually like kind of bad news for the sport in a lot of ways, because and as content creators, you want this thing to keep growing. You want this thing to just be in a boom all the time. But
totally,
and you and for selfish reasons, you want F1 to continue to make money and continue. You want Liberty Media to continue to be invested in this thing making money, because once it stops being this super uber profitable thing, then they'll just probably sell it to a place that doesn't care about profit as much.
Right.
Because the Saudis, they care about profit. They want to diversify, but they also care about their image,
right.
So anyway, they want it on their mantelpiece as much as they want to diversify their oil money.
Right.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead about the temperature.
Yeah. So I just thought of that. Liberty Media is like, when you cook a bag of popcorn and you're like listening to the pop, like, when the pops start being, like when it's rolling and it's pop, but then at the end, it's like after there's like 2 or 3 seconds, you want to like time it at the right time. And if you do it too early, there's all these kernels left, and if you do it too late, there's all these burnt pieces. That's Liberty Media with Formula One right now. They're like, the bag's in the thing and it's cooking, and they were expecting Vegas to just be like, like, look at all the delicious popcorn we're gonna be eating from Vegas, and right now it's like, oh shit, are all these kernels in there burning?
It's just silence. What's happening. It's just silence, and they're listening to burning fresh
popcorn
kernels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, you literally brought it to my level. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, that's the dumbest. That makes sense.
That's the dumbest, fattest way to put it.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. I just watched. I'm gonna say I just watched Dumb Money, and that's the best movie I've seen in like 5 years. And it's all about it's. Well, in Dumb Money, which is about the GameStop short squeeze when all these Reddit guys and gals on
it's
fucking
they're talking about holding
Wall Street bets. They're holding the line, diamond hands. You hold the line. They squeeze the hedge fund, guys, and a bunch of people made out like with a shit ton of money. But then there were people that like held on. There's like people like in the movie. There's a couple people that are like they show at the end like what everyone made out of it, and then there's like one person who's like negative $13,000 still holding. Yeah, and it's like, and I've done research on this, and there's people like still holding, and like, I don't think Liberty's gonna be that. Liberty's gonna like get out, when they start to see the dip. So we want this thing. You want this thing to be a success, and there's still a chance that it fucking will be. It might not be what people thought that it was gonna be, and it's not every $13,000 ticket is being sold, but I looked a couple days ago, since the prices have dropped, people are buying tickets. It's not like it's gonna be empty. Like Saturday night, it will be fucking full. And as much as the course is boring, I watched
sick.
It's gonna look fucking sick. And as much as the course is boring, it is a street course, so there will be some chaos, and it could potentially be exciting. But
unless
let's get into
thing happens. Unless the temperature.
So let's talk about the temperature thing.
Then it'll be a fiasco.
Okay, so this is from Elizabeth Blackstock, friend of the pod, wrote this article. on Jalopnik, saying that desert climates are fascinating. While you might be roasting under the beating sun during the daytime, cool temperatures sweep in at night and bring you to the opposite form of misery. According to Ross Braun, who left Formula One management ahead of the 2022 season, who had been around for the initial talks regarding the Las Vegas GP, no one in Formula One seemed to realize that it actually might get pretty cold in Nevada at night in November. I'm just going to drop this full quote here. This is what he said. The one thing we hadn't considered initially, but the tire company have dealt with, is it gets very, very cold at night. So when the race is happening, which is Saturday night, it has been known to drop down to 3 or 4 degrees. Use Fahrenheit. That's around in the 40s.
Just above freezing.
It can be really quite cold, and of course, getting the cars to work at those temperatures can be a challenge. The tire companies have done some work to make the tires that can cope with that. We're definitely facing some new challenges which you've never had before, but I think it will be spectacular. So there's a world in which it's too fucking cold. Will be like possibly the second coldest Formula One race ever. And that it'll be, I'm looking at Vegas, and on Saturday night, or the low is 37 right now.
God damn.
It says it'll be 37 degrees. So
and they think they might have to weave on the straight, like they might
right to put temperature in the tires.
Right. And if they have to do that, it's gonna be laughable.
Right.
It's gonna be humiliating.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're gonna have to use what? Like, how do you prevent that? You put the lowest,
the
softest. Yeah.
Baby flesh tires.
And everyone's going to be on softs, or I
guess.
using the full wets.
Why would you use the full wets?
Just so you can have grip.
Oh, you just with the treads on them?
Yeah, the blue, the full wet tires.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's being discussed is the fact that their hands might get like
wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, or if certainly if you live in New York, if you ever see delivery guys delivering, Grubhub and Seamless and that kind of shit, they all have in the wintertime they have gloves attached to the seat to the handles, and then they put their hands in the gloves. Sometimes they put Amazon packages in front because they just block the air and they're insulated in a way.
Yeah. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that, Brian, because here's the thing is the thing when you're in the city and it's cold and then you bike, it just drops. Because the air just kills you.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Crazy, dude. One time,
you just take whatever temperature is, and then if you're on a bike, just subtract 40 degrees from it.
Yeah, wind
and then
chill.
This is
what says. That's the definition of wind chill.
You're creating your own wind. You're creating your own wind chill when you do that.
Right. Yes. I once a friend of ours had a motorcycle in Virginia, and it was a motorcycle that he had been fixing up for years, and it was not really a motorcycle that was meant for highways. It was a shitty, shockingly Honda motorcycle that was from the 80s, and he had been fixing it up, and by the time he had fixed it up, it was November. This is 2020. So it's November of 2020, and he's like, dude, I am going to try to drive this bike up, but it's going to take me a couple days because I have to use side roads. I can't use the highway. Because Virginia to New York, you can do that in a day. But he's like, it's going to take me 3 days because I have to use side roads. Also, I need GPS, and I'm going to be on the motorcycle, so I can't do this. So can you drive down to Virginia and meet me, and then we'll drive up together, and I'll just follow you in the car. So I was like,
Brian, can I just?
Yes.
What would you have said to this request today?
Today, well, I haven't spoken to this person in a little bit. I would still maybe do it. and I would, because I love this boy, but we were
you're way
entrenched.
less Koji. You were way less.
We
You're way
were
less Koji
entrenched
than
at the time. We're less entrenched now. But I think I'd still potentially do it. It was like fun. I had a fun time. He had a miserable time because what happened was I was in the car
yeah.
and he was following behind me on this bike in November from Virginia to New York, and it was like 40 degrees, 45 degrees, not dissimilar from how cold it's going to be. And we'd have to stop like every couple of hours, and I would crank the heat up, and he'd get in the car, and he'd be there fucking shivering, dude. And his hands, and he was like, my hands are freezing up. So this is like, yeah, it's a fucking real concern.
And they're going way faster than a fucking
way
motorcycle.
faster. He was going so slow that
be...
yeah. Now they'll have the engine at their back, so like the engine gets hot, of course, but their hands that doesn't do shit for their hands.
And their hands are hitting the wind.
Yes.
Which is why I've been saying this I've been saying they should do the IndyCar thing. They should have
the
windshield. The windscreens.
They should have the windscreens.
It solves so many of these problems.
I wonder if they'll do that. I wonder if they'll put, hey, F1, hey, Formula One, this is a genius idea. I don't know if they're thinking of doing this. IndyCar puts the windscreens where the halo is. There's a piece of plastic, a sheets of plastics that covers them and protects them from the wind. If you want to keep Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton's hands nice and toasty and working at the Las Vegas GP, do what IndyCar does and put the fucking windscreens on. That's a break.
That's what they got to do.
That's genius.
That's what they got to do. I mean, they should do it for all the other reasons because it also protects them from parts and shit.
Right.
And you don't have the Felipe Massa situation.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
Holy shit.
If they had the aero screen, they wouldn't have to worry about this problem.
You're 100% right.
They would be more fucked in a place like Qatar because it makes the car hotter. But yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, they wouldn't do that in Qatar. It would be dependent. Part of the issue with this track is that there's not a lot of high-speed corners, as is the case with most street tracks. So it's hard to get temperature into the tires, as you would on a traditional track. It's more difficult to do that. So yeah, no, the actual driving is also a huge fucking issue. Yeah, and the fact that it's like, 37 is fucking, that is cold.
What coat are we bringing? What coat are you bringing? You bringing winter coat?
I'm bringing my Lando Norris fucking jacket that you that you gave me. That thing's
right.
pretty
You're
warm.
only coming for 2 days.
I'm only coming for 2 days. Yeah, I broke my foot and I'm not going to be there for the whole time, but I'm coming for 2 days because we have some exciting things that we can't talk about yet. But we'll be conducting some interviews, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, but you know what? We might have a crazy winter. We might have a crazy winter, though. All this chaos.
What do you mean?
This just feels like it's so many chaotic. Like Max might get pulled, but he might get a horrible start. He might crash. Like there's all sorts of variables that might lead to a different winter.
Right.
Because you have to drive this car in such a weird way. Like
there's the possibility for errors and people crashing and for that to happen,
and safety cars, and like Max getting unlucky, and
definitely there will be some safety car. The other thing that's interesting about this is the timing of it, which is also absurd. And I think it must be because the race starts at 10 p.m., which means that it will be on at 1 a.m. in New York
Eastern time. Yeah,
which means that it will be on at like 6 a.m. in the UK.
Welcome to my life.
Welcome to our fucking lives.
Yeah,
I
people
guess
who
I'm
don't
like
think F1 Americans are F1 fans. Like you're about to find out.
Yeah, you're about to experience a little taste of what it's like for us.
Yeah,
but I guess I don't know why they're not. It's like if you want Americans to watch this, it's on too late.
Well, it's because of the traffic, right? They can't shut down they cannot shut down Las Vegas traffic earlier.
Right.
And
And
they
I
wanna
guess that
have it
was
at
from
night.
that was from the city. The city was like, you can't do this. But
Probably, yeah.
if they're
Probably.
gonna do this going forward, it's like
I-
here's the crazy bit. You tore up the strip for 9 months. The residents were all like bitch moaning and complaining about it. You've done all this inconveniencing for 9 months, and then like for one day, you're gonna like be like, no, don't do it at 8 p.m. That'll ruin my commute. Do it later. I just don't understand. Like that seems crazy to me. It should be on
It's
at
like
8
if I'm
p.m.
paying all this money, it should be on exactly when I want it to be on.
It should be on at 8 p.m., which is still late in the East Coast, but it's like not absurd. It's like, who's going to be up at 1 a.m. watch? It's like the viewership is going to be down. Like they're not going to get good viewership.
Yeah.
Or you do it at like 6 p.m.
I mean, they have the numbers. Maybe they realize like a lot of Americans tape this shit anyway. They don't watch it live anyway.
But you want it to be it's like you want to watch it. I think it's because the city of Las Vegas was like, it must be because of that.
That was just a non-starter.
A non-starter. You're not going to do this at 7 p.m. That's right in our rush hour. That's right when everything is happening. And it's just like, but this is the thing.
Then just don't do it.
It's this weird we don't comply here, we comply in all these other ways, but like here's our stick in the mud, and like it's created this thing. I can't imagine that this will be like, I think that this thing has a potential to be successful down the line if they can work out some of these kinks. Yeah.
Well, I've also heard about the temperature. They might have to do it during the day, which would also be shitty.
That would suck, yeah.
Because you don't have that visual element.
And then it's also like, do they do this at the same time every year? Do they do this in November every year, or do you move it?
No, they should move it. They should move it to when they should. If they want it to be a success, it should be early in the calendar.
Yes.
And it should be when it's warmer, obviously.
It should be like the first race of the year.
No, see, they fuck themselves because they take too much money from Bahrain. Pays them too much money too.
Right.
Bahrain pays for that privilege.
Yeah. But it should be early in the season. It should be when Miami is.
Yes, exactly.
You do Miami in November when it's like still nice.
Yes, and then you don't.
Still nice in Miami.
Schwitzing.
Yeah. How? Let me look up the weather in Miami right now. Let's see. Miami, baby, Miami.
I'm sure there are reasons why they can't do this. I'm sure if you talk to Stefano, he'll be like, "Well, you can't because of X, Y, Z." But
well, it's 81. It's the football season. That's also part of it. Is that it's they do it in the parking lot of the thing. Also, this is coming out in a video coming up, but this can be a little for the people on the pod. But Christian Horner claims that this is all happening because it's his 50th birthday. So that's why it's happening this weekend. And that Stefano Domenicali
character syndrome. Just kidding.
And that Stefano Domenicali told him that they're doing it this weekend because Christian's turning 50, and like he's like, Christian, guess what I got you for your birthday? Vegas GP, baby. Like, you're getting it. And so
if that was actually the reason,
yeah.
If they're weaving on the straight because that's when Christian was born, that would be crazy.
I mean, they owe it to him, don't they? They owe it to him.
They do owe it to him.
The American influence is there's two reasons why Americans love Formula One, and their names are Christian Horner and Daniel Ricciardo. That's why people love Formula One, because those first two. Guess what? Charles Leclerc wasn't really a player on that show until later.
Well, you know what's interesting is, but maybe they have Christian Horner to blame because he suckered them into the American market, and now they bet huge on Vegas.
Right.
He honey potted them.
Yeah.
He got the American. So it's all Christian's fault.
But I'll just say this, because this is all about in a betting contest, right? F1 was betting high. F1 was betting big on Vegas to be the thing. Everyone's been talking about it, all this stuff. Now, because of all this stuff around it, now everyone's fucking selling, and everyone's like, don't bet on this to be a good race. Don't bet on this to be a successful weekend. And now the stock has dipped. Now the stock has dipped too fucking low, because it'll still be, now you buy. And now is the time to bet on this race to be something that's like still fucking good. Why? What will it be at the level they hoped that it was going to be? Probably, definitely not. But will it be the travesty that everyone is like so sure that it's going to be? I don't know.
Here's the other beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
Is even if it is a travesty, that's going to be awesome to watch.
Right. It'll be amazing for us.
There's no, and it's going to be amazing for the viewer. Do you want another like perfect race where the strategy is perfect and Max Verstappen wins by 900 seconds? What are we talking about here? This is an opportunity for actually something different to happen.
Right.
Vegas might be a gift. I mean, Singapore, everyone shits on street tracks. Singapore was a gift.
Yeah.
Because it was such a weird fucking track.
Right.
And nobody could know. And the goal was to drive slow, which is why Carlos Sainz won that fucking race.
Right.
You know? So I can't believe. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
All the Euro trash who hate America.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the United States getting involved in Formula One.
Yeah.
So they're just like, and they ascribe, and they want this to suck. And everybody who complains about the sprint races, they want them to suck. Even when they're good, they say that they suck. It's just, it's so annoying. It's like, even when the sprint race is good, they're like, well, it was actually bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like irrational. It's just like, you can't ever admit that you're wrong. I get that the sprint races as a concept are annoying, but even when they're good, they don't even say, well, that one was good. It's like, there have been so many good ones, and they're like, well, it was only good because of this. It was only good because there's just like this wanting the thing to suck, or it's crazy. It's like,
and they've exposed what the sprint races. This is a little tangent, but what the sprint races have exposed is which teams like understand their fucking equipment and which teams don't. And you know who doesn't?
Yes.
Mercedes-Benz. Yes. And that's really why a lot of the Europeans hate it, is because what the sprint races have exposed is that with one free practice and Parc Fermé coming in after that, Mercedes-Benz has no idea what the fuck they're doing with their car. And they need 3 free practices to like cobble together a little Frankenstein of a car to like make something work on a Sunday. But when you have to lock in your cars after Friday, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Mercedes.
Yeah. It just exposes that people have this narrative that they want to push. They want to push a narrative that the sprint races suck. So even when they're good, they say that they're bad. Yeah. And when they're bad, they're like, look, I told you so. And this Vegas thing is a narrative that they're pushing, that this is a bad race. So they're cherry picking the trees and the Venetian that they don't actually give a fuck about. You know what I mean? It's just very infuriating. Yeah. It's all just like we said, just come from the real place, which is like, I don't like, because the real place, real place that it's coming from is actually a cruel, shitty place, which is like, I don't like these new people getting involved in my sport.
Right.
I don't like that America is getting involved in my sport.
Yeah.
And they don't want to say that.
And it's such a British fucking thing to just like want a thing to stay exactly the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just such a fucking British, it's such a British cynicism. It's such a British like sense of like, honestly, it speaks to like the fucking the and this is one of the inherent differences between America and the UK specifically, is this sense of like, the Americans maybe have a diluted sense of the American dream, like I can do anything, and the Brits are like slow, and the Brits are just constantly like, slow your roll, know your place, like stay in the fucking place that you're in. And it's all just British cynicism. And maybe this is Americans flying too close to the sun. Yeah. Maybe this is what that is. And they're getting such delight over it. And it's like, but try something.
Try something.
Try something.
Also, also, where are we? Why are we? If we're talking about places that only exist as like greed havens that are not good tracks, let's talk about Monaco.
Oh, totally.
Monaco is a terrible
Right.
track in a place that is
Fake.
for fake and for excess, and is just a tax haven. So
and it's Monaco is the Vegas of Europe.
That's of Europe. Monaco's the Vegas of Europe.
Yes,
it's and they're just because those same people who blow Monaco are saying, well, the track's not good. That track fucking sucks.
Totally. Hey, it'll be a better race than Monaco. The Vegas GP will be a better race than Monaco is every year.
Every year. I don't care if they're weaving on the straights. Shit will go down. Now, the other thing I want to say is I just don't want to hear about the sprint race anymore because it's done. It's staying.
Yeah.
It's like it's happening. I remember one time I got on the bus.
Yeah.
And I remember the Metro card was $2. I was maybe 12 years old. And I remember putting my Metro card in and I saw it was $2.25.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I screamed. I went, what the hell is this? Is it going to be $2.25 forever?
Right.
And then this old Jewish woman who was sitting up front, she goes, no, it won't be $2.25 forever. I go, oh, thank God. She goes, pretty soon it'll be $2.50. And she just kind of like, no, I was kind of hoping that this $2.25 thing would be temporary, but she was like, no. It's $2.25 now. It'll be $2.25 and then it'll be $2.50. That's the sprint races. The sprint races are here to stay. They're never going anywhere. Stop now you're just the guy complaining about this thing. I could get this thing for a nickel once. And it's just annoying and it's never changing.
Right. It's just, like accept the things we cannot change and have courage to change the things we can and the wisdom to know the difference or whatever the fuck the phrase is.
And they don't have the wisdom to know the difference. The sprint races are here. They're here. Stop talking about it. It's one thing when they were trying it out and you guys, you fought the good fight. You bitched about them, but they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. God, grant me the serenity to change the things, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yes. Okay, let's move
Keep coming back. It works if you work it.
That's right. That is fucking right. That is the Europeans' addiction to this kind of shit. Okay, let's talk about Netflix hosting this Netflix Cup. It's going to be a live golf event. Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon all competing in said event. So Lando Norris is paired up with Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler is famous for wearing orange. He is a Puma signed athlete, and he wears all orange to play golf. Now, if Lando Norris and Ricky Fowler are both not wearing bright orange come Tuesday, November 14th, heads will roll. They need to be decked out in papaya. If they're not, I will be furious. Carlos Sainz is paired up with Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas, great golfer. Pierre Gasly's paired up with Colin Morikawa, and Alex Albon is paired up with Max Homa. Now, here's the thing. Pierre Gasly is a liability. I don't know why he's in this. It shouldn't be Pierre Gasly. It should be Lance Stroll or Checo Perez, because Checo Perez just did this thing with Red Bull. They did like this golf thing. Checo Perez, his swing's a little bit ugly, but he can smack the ball. Like, he's a pretty good golfer. Pierre Gasly's got a trash swing. I don't know. Maybe he's been working on it, but he's going to be a fucking liability. Now, will he be fun? He'll be fun. He'll be good on the mic. Because I think what they do with these things, like, they're mic'd up the whole time. They have like announcers in their ears and they're like talking to them. So I think this event will be really fun. Alex Albon. Okay, so here. Okay, I just want to do a little analysis.
But who are the best golfers?
They're all great. But here's who's been doing well. So Max Homa and Colin Morikawa both won the last tournaments they played in. They're doing well right now. Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas are both like great, but they recently haven't been so. They're a little bit more hot or cold. Colin Morikawa is like a fucking machine. That guy is disciplined as hell and is just a fucking machine. And Max Homa, I don't know much about his personality, but I do know that he's been like on a hot streak this year. He's currently ranked, I think, 8th in the world, and Colin McCarroll is ranked 12th, whereas Ricky and Justin are both like in the 20s and 30s ranking in the world.
But how do you how do you score this? Because those golfers are probably within a few strokes of each other, whereas I'm sure these drivers are not within a few strokes of each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That there's actually huge differences.
There's and that's what
stroke.
No, Ricky, Justin, all the pro golfers are all like on the same playing field.
Yes.
You know, who's playing well right now, but like they're all pros. So like there's actually you get a distinction of like Colin and Max are hot right now, so maybe they're going to like it's kind of good that they're with the two worst golfers, whereas Justin and Ricky,
but I'm saying there's less than a 10th between them.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and like Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz are in Red Bulls, whereas Pierre and Alex Albon. I'd say that of this, Carlos is technically the best, but I think Lando has the best swing. Alex Albon is third, and Pierre Gasly's like in the Williams from 3 years ago. So I think it's ultimately going to come down to Lando and Carlos. That's what's ultimately going to happen, because I think that Pierre and Alex are going to be too much of a liability. So then it becomes like that will be fascinating. I think it's going to be a great event. I'm going to take that Lando Norris and Ricky Fowler are going to fucking take the day, because I think Ricky Fowler is like he's a showman, and I think he's going to meet the moment really well. And I think that they're going to take this tournament. That's what I think.
And who's better, Ricky Fowler or Carlos's guy?
Carlos's guy is like one more tour, like he's won more majors. I'd say that they're both like hot and cold guys. When they're on, they're fucking amazing, and when they're off, they're really off. Whereas the other two guys are more like
Fowler
machines.
Will get hot. You think Ricky Fowler will get hot in this moment?
Yes.
And the other guys might golf better, but Pierre and Albon will just drag them down.
Will be especially Pierre. Now they might give Pierre they might have Pierre hit from a different tee potentially, but that would be like embarrassing for Pierre. Pierre's like too much of a fucking aggro to like accept that. Because sometimes you can have like when Charles Barkley did this, like they had him hit from like the front, like the elderly tees. But he
a slice is a slice, right? You know, it doesn't really
but he kind of worked out his swing enough that it was like, oh, like actually he's killing it. He was like like, because he was famous for this horrible golf swing. But so I'd be curious to see if they give Pierre or Alex any type of advantages, because they're not as good as Carlos and Lando. But we'll see.
It's crazy how Charles Barkley is like such an incredible athlete and had such a trash swing. He was such a good athlete.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay. Apparently Guenther Steiner spoke at Harvard recently, coming for Toto's spot.
Yeah. I love that move.
Or no, he's going. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he, on Halloween. Of course, Guenther spoke at Harvard on fucking Halloween.
Like, I'm going to pretend to be a serious person. I'm dressing up as a serious person.
Yeah. It was open to all students. The title was Guenther Steiner, Principal Haas F1 and Netflix star, will join the Innovation in Science and Technology class at SEAS to discuss innovation at breakneck speeds. Yeah, there's a picture of him like in a Harvard's lecture hall.
How do you think Toto felt about that?
He probably was like, "Did you see this? He was like, "Did you see this?" Like making fun of him with his crew, right?
Because he thinks he's a serious Harvard guy,
right?
He thinks what he has to say is Harvard level.
Yeah. Did you see this thing that where he was talking with he was on a podcast with the head of LinkedIn? Toto?
I haven't seen it, and I never will.
They were talking about their hiring process, and he was talking about he was like pontificating about how they run their organization. He was like, I said to my how do you do the voice? I said to my
you got to go very deep in the back of the throat. Someone commented recently being like, I know that Brian's the actor, but Matt's way better at the accent. So we're not wrong.
But he was like, I asked our head of hiring, like, what would you do if you got a resume of someone who only had a high school education, who didn't do this and only had a bit of work experience in tech companies, and he said we'd throw out their application, and he said, okay, well, that's me. So we're missing, and the point was like, Mercedes wouldn't hire Toto if Toto came across their thing.
Good.
But it's also it's completely it's so disingenuous because Toto owns the company.
Yeah.
He's like, it's so hard for tech billionaires. That's his argument. They wouldn't hire Toto. They shouldn't hire Toto.
He's saying I didn't listen to the interview, but he's saying that like when he was a young whippersnapper, they wouldn't have hired him.
As they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Toto got in there not through like the merit of his fucking like racing knowledge.
Yes.
Or his application. He got in there because he bought companies.
Yes. And he was rich as fuck.
Which is how the business world...
He bought his way into the team.
Toto had a path, which was, I'm going to like own and turn over companies, sell them for a profit. It's like, that's what you want in your fucking Formula One team? Like, what are we... It was just like... It's like...
Cringe.
It just sounds good in an interview, but when you actually like parse through, it's like you made a... If a guy who made $500 million at a fucking tech startup came to Mercedes and said, hey, I want to play ball, they would take his application seriously. He wouldn't have to apply. You wouldn't have to apply. That's Toto's route.
That's like Jeff Bezos being like, so you're saying, that's like Jeff Bezos being like, if I applied to be an astronaut, they wouldn't take me. Isn't that fucked up?
Literally.
It's like, dude, you own the. Of course, you're only an astronaut because you own the fucking company.
And he's like, and Bezos like, but I've been to space, so like, must be something wrong with the NASA hiring process. It's like, no, dude. Now, is there a point there of like, looking at people's applications and getting to know the person? Yeah, of course. But like, not through the lens of that Mercedes wouldn't have hired Toto. Toto didn't, and for an entry position, has never had an entry position in his like real business life. I mean, when he was like in his 20s and on, like early 20s on his way up, but then he bought companies and then sold them and then only existed as people's bosses. Like, what are we talking about here? Anyway.
He's mid as hell.
I want to take Guenther Steiner's class. Guenther Steiner reminds me of like the teacher that you just like, you don't really have to do the homework. Like the class is just there for him to like be fun at the lecture.
His Rate My Professor would be like off the charts.
Yeah.
Did you ever go on Rate My Professor, or you didn't have to do that?
No, I didn't do that. Yeah.
That's something you did in college where you're like, do I want to take this class? And you go on ratemyprofessor.com and they'd be like, this professor's cool, but they're kind of hard, tough.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What else is there? Ferrari. So they came out they're doing like the livery, the Vegas livery, and they did the white rear wing. And I'm just like, it would just be so sick if they just did the whole thing in white. Because then we could have a little Frank Ocean moment, like, white Ferrari had a good time. I mean, but it literally, like, it's right there. Like, if Frank Ocean, it's like that song, White Ferrari, it would, like, when Red Bull did the white car in Japan, like, it was the sickest thing ever.
But when a child pictures a race car,
they draw it red.
He draw it red.
But it's like you can have red accents.
I would be
like,
shocked if they knew who the fuck Frank Ocean was.
Yeah. They're like, how dare he? How dare he sing a song about our cars?
I'm sure he's blacklisted. I'm sure he could never buy a Ferrari. They are the Ferrari is the Frank Ocean at Coachella of cars.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Just mailing it in. Just fucking mailing it in.
They should do
just,
it white. I want to see some. I want to see some balls at one of these livery reveals. Just some balls, or just go like all yellow or something. Like just change it up. Do something crazy.
It needs to be like. It just you want to feel like that's holy shit! What a fun like the Gulf. I mean, when the Gulf Williams, the Gulf McLaren that they did, like when they inverse the colors.
Yeah.
It's sick.
You're in Vegas. Take a shot. Take a stab. Do something neon.
Yeah.
Williams should do one that's like, well, they can't pink it. You know, something neon pink or neon green. Aston Martin should do neon green.
Yeah, everyone should do like a fucking fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You know, it's just, you know, it's Vegas GP. This is. We said we didn't do predictions last time. Why don't we do a little bit of predictions? What do you think? What do you think's happening here?
I think it's gonna be a chaotic race. I think Fernando Alonso fucking wins this one. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think a hero rises from the. I think this is a Fernando Alonso kind of race. Chaos.
Yeah.
Or like fucking Ocon wins and I'll just kill myself. like I think it could. I think it has like hungering potential.
Yeah.
Like an absolute or like Sochi potential where it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And we get a weirdo winner.
Yeah, I saw this clip of Daniel Ricciardo doing the sim on it, and I think that some of the driver, I think the first like where the race starts, some of the drivers in the back will have to make a turn going into the like they're not all going to be straight on the start. Like some of them will be at the edge of the turn, like coming in. So that's kind of chaotic. If that's true, I don't know if that's just in the video game or in the sim versus something else, but.
So Logan Sargent might just go off immediately.
Right. Yeah, it might be potentially one of those situations.
But we might have a weird situation where there's a red flag like early on in Q3 and we have a weird qualifying setup. I mean, who the fuck knows? Who do you think is going to win?
Who do I think is going to win? I mean, I think Max is going to win by like a huge margin. Unless there's a bunch of safety cars, but I think it'll be Max by a huge margin. The other question, I'm just trying to think of like, it's like this whole year it's been like Williams has the straight line speed. It's this huge main straight on the thing. So like will Williams potentially
Mercedes is fucked. I think it's gonna be
Mercedes is fucked. Alpine is fucked because they've got that engine can't do it. AlphaTauri, I think Yuki and Daniel both getting points.
Oscar's going to have a great race because there's no tire tag. And he's not going to overthink it. He's not going to overthink it. I think Oscar, this is a big comeback race for Oscar. Lando has no experience on this track. Yeah. I think Lando's in trouble this race. I think Oscar could win this race, honestly, because he's not going to overthink it. He's not going to get caught up in the lights and the moment like Lando. Right. Lando's going to get like caught up in the moment.
Oh, Lando's going to be so distracted by like every time he passes the sphere, he's going to be like, "Woo! Look, bright colors." Yeah,
Oscar could win this race honestly because there's no dag. He doesn't give a fuck about the noise.
Right.
His teammates never driven it before. That's another possibility.
I think he's got a high pain tolerance because that kid looks like he's got a high pain tolerance. And he's not like easily distractible. I think this
Yes.
race. That's a fucking great take. I think this race is bad for the puppies of F1.
Yes.
The Daniel Ricciardos, the Landos, the Charleses, the Pierre Gaslys. Like, there's going to be so much going on. It's going to be hard for them to not get
the squirrel brains.
Exactly. Yes, the dogs who are like squirrel. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for those boys.
No, yeah.
Yuki.
Yuki. I think
Yeah.
Oscar, Alonso. Yeah.
Max.
Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
These are guys. Ocon even.
Yep.
Guys who are just kind of eyes on the prize.
Right.
Yeah,
and to not get caught up in like the week,
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be tough for them to be, disciplined for this whole week in Vegas with the clubs and with everything happening late. Because it's like, hey, it's 11 p.m. race. I can get drunk the night before. I've got the whole day to nurse my hangover.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of, we should promo our Patreon that's coming out this
week.
Yeah.
We've got a Patreon that's going to be coming out later this week where we scientifically rate all of the drivers based off of our criteria of speed, hotness, precious baby angelness, and entertainment value. It's a comprehensive list. You're not going to want to miss it. It was one of our favorite episodes that we've ever done. I had one of the best times actually recording it. It was a blast. It's scientific. There's numbers with points, with decimals, and some of them are closer than you think. Yeah, we did math. We mathed it. We girl mathed it. Yeah, Vankas. We're going to be in Vegas. We're leaving tomorrow. We're flying out tomorrow.
No.
I mean, actually today. Technically, as you're reading this, we're going to be like on our getting ready to head to the airport to go to Vegas. We're going to have a bunch of stuff coming out this week of us there. And so stay tuned for that. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, wait.
Yeah.
I guess we did our predictions, but who do you think? You said that Alonso's winning.
Alonso or Oscar.
Or Piastri.
Or Piastri as a surprise win or
it.
like high finish.
Yeah. I like Alex Albon getting in the top 5.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Okay, Venkers, until next time.
Goodbye, Vankas.